VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Would you love to deepen your spiritual connection and create a conscious shift in your life? Do you seek answer to human experience? Well, welcome to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. It's a 2.5-hour safe haven for your questions and Spirit's answers. And you can transform your life right now on VCMG in South Florida. Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor, coach, and medium who can assist you to connect the light within and transcend beyond the limits of all possible experience and knowledge. For the next 2.5 hours, listen and call in toll-free 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247. And watch Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube and share love and light.
The world is changing now, and we don't know where to go. The world is different now, and people have lost their way. It's just not easy to be who we want to be, 'cause the world is changing now. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart, the ways that worked before, they don't work anymore. We have lost our love for everyone. We have hurt each other. The world is changing now. It's asking us to move along, to open up a different way of loving one another. We can't stay the same. We've lost the game of life. We can't run away anymore. The world is changing now. We need to heed the warning. The world is calling you to rise above where you've been. The world is changing now. What we did before doesn't work. It's time for you. It's time for me to change. The world is changing now. Won't you change and open your heart?
Let's open your heart. Right here on VCMG on the Oldie Station. We welcome your phone calls at 866-972-7247 all across the nation. We're also welcoming you all on Facebook and YouTube. We want to connect with all of you. We want to answer your questions. We want to hear your comments. Tonight, we're going to be examining your story. What's your story? How can we create a different version of a story within you? How can we shift the way you view your life now versus how it was before? And as we move forward in the direction of what we want to create, is the story that you've been telling yourself been slowing you up? Has it been derailing you? Has it been creating angst, anxiety? Has it created a storyline that you're stuck and you can't get out of? You find yourself in a pattern, something uncomfortable, something that's not allowing you to move forward. But no matter what you do, you can't seem to break free. And as you try to break free, you keep playing that story. It's the same old song with a different day, right? It's a different day, but it's still the same old song that's playing in your mind. And what are the stories that I'm talking about? What story are you carrying with you? Well, first of all, if you ever sit in a group of people, and people you may know for a while, you listen to people tell their story as a new person comes into the group, you often hear people tell their same stories. I remember when I used to do this. This was what I was good at, or this is what I loved to do. There are people who will say, oh yeah, there was a time when I lost my job. It took me a really long time to get back out of the hole, and I've never been the same since. People feel this need. We as humans feel this need to share our stuff. But is it really necessary to keep sharing those same stories over and over again? What does it accomplish? And how is it holding you back? Even if it's a great memory. It's a memory that's 10 years old. It's a memory that's 20 years old. What is it that we're creating in this moment of now? Or what have we recently created that we can use to lift ourselves up so that we can create a shift and a change? What is it that we want to create for tomorrow? And what's holding us back today? Often it's the self-talk, and it's what we tell others about ourselves. And many of us have wounds. We have our experiences that have hurt us. We've talked about that on the show before. We talked about our little ones being trapped in the past. But do you keep talking about how you weren't honored and loved by the people who raised you? Are you still talking about how you were bullied in school? Are you still talking about how you were unjustly accused of something at work and now you're losing your job, but it wasn't your mistake? The error wasn't yours, but you can't prove it? Are we still talking about those things? Are we still talking about the times that all the boyfriends that you've had thus far have cheated on you? Are we still talking about that? Because if we're still talking about that, what do you think you're going to create? Now, I know. You're going to say to me, Sarah, but that's what I've experienced. But what can we shift in how you view that story? How can we shift how you interpret people so that we don't repeat that? Because if we keep talking about how we've had failure in relationships and relationships just don't work for you, that's a story you're telling yourself. That's a story you're putting out into the universe. That is really the story you're going to get. That's a story that's going to unfold in your life. And you're going to continually attract people who are emotionally unavailable or not aware of your feelings, nor do they care for your feelings. Because ultimately they care for themselves. They come first. You see, there's a story within the story. What do I mean by that? Underneath the surface of everything we tell ourselves is the true feeling and the true story. And sometimes we can't handle the truth of the story. Perhaps the truth of the story is that you were in a bad place and you really needed someone to lift you up, and you kind of were gravitated to just virtually almost anyone who came and gave you just a modicum of attention. And so there you were, stuck in the story. And next thing you know, it became entangled and you just didn't know how to get out. I was talking to someone today, and we were talking about relationships, and we were talking about marriage, and we were talking about people being able to feel emotionally safe in a marriage and being able to share their thoughts and their ideas of the relationship, not the thoughts and the ideas of the world. That's always important to listen to your partner about that, but sharing your thoughts and your feelings about how you feel in the relationship and how the relationship interacts, and where you feel grateful and maybe where you feel not seen or heard. You see, a lot of us have built up a lot of resentment over the years. In work relationships and personal relationships, we've carried the burden of resentment that separates us from all things that are love. Maybe we resent how our brothers or sisters were treated versus how we were. Maybe you're the outcast in your family, the black sheep, the one who, well, you swear you got dropped into the wrong family. There's a lot of you running around out there. And maybe you don't know how to heal that wound or just let it go. And maybe that piece of the story that you still hold on to, you are continually creating a scenario, unbeknownst to you consciously, that makes you always the odd man out, on the outside looking in, not fitting in the work dynamic, not feeling like you have the right purpose because you're just not in sync with everyone around you. And maybe, just maybe, you're attracting all the wrong people because that's all you know. But the people that are in your circle, the people that are meant to be your champions, are meant to be part of a mission, they will basically stand by you no matter what comes forward. They will create the right dynamic with you. They will work towards a common goal, be it the relationship, be it a project, be it the friendship. Who's the person that you can be your true authentic self with? How can we create a better dynamic for ourselves? What is the answer to that? It lies deep within you. What's missing in your life that causes you to hold on to an old story? We all have a lot of successes in our lives. There's moments we felt great. And those moments of greatness, they make us feel good. They make you feel validated. They help you understand a little more about yourself and your courage and your abilities and your gifts. Those are beautiful things. But we can't live on the past accolades forever. We have to create a new vibration. But many of us, once we have that moment of success, that time in our life that we felt successful or that we were good at something for a period of time, and then life moves on and maybe that's not as prevalent as what we're currently doing. And so it kind of falls by the wayside. But we still remember how we feel. And because we still remember the story of how we felt, we keep telling the story because we want to feel that way again. Yet we're afraid to try something else or something new because if it doesn't measure up or if we can't duplicate that success, then maybe it was just sheer luck. Maybe it was that we weren't really good at all. We just got lucky in that moment. And we weren't able to notice that. And we felt like it was a good moment, but now we're looking back, well, maybe I just got lucky. And you're not sure how you're going to create that again. So you never put yourself in that position to test yourself again, to shine your light, to express yourself. Why is it we can do so well working for someone else for periods of time, because we're getting their praise and we want to get our raise and we want to get recognized. But when it comes to doing something for ourselves, there's a story wired inside of you that doesn't let you do as well or be as dedicated or as focused as you would for someone else. Why is that? Why is it it's easy to care for someone else and take care of their needs before our own needs? Is it because there's a story inside of us that's a need to please? We want to be seen, so we have to overcompensate because we feel like we need to do that to be loved? What's the story? You see, we've all experienced things in our lives that make us feel happy and joyful and not feel good enough or worthy. We've all had the moment where maybe we were made fun of at school. We all had the moments where maybe our parents didn't show up for us in the way we, at that moment as a child, needed them to. And unbeknownst to them, they didn't create the need inside of us that, they didn't meet the need, I should say, inside of us that was necessary for us at the moment. So what do we do? How do we reposition ourselves and our stories? How do we look at where we've been and change it? Well, the first thing is, please just stop talking about it. I could tell you so many stories of things that have happened to me in my lifetime. I'm sure we all, if we put our stories in the middle of the room, we'd have quite the pile. And sometimes for a teaching purpose, an example, I'll pull something out of my hat. But I don't want to go back. Do you want to go back? And yes, there are times when we want to make reference to a successful time. But it's a moment that is meant to be a stepping stone to your next successful moment. So what are you doing to create your next successful moment? How are you separating yourself from the past you to create the future you? Because if you are dragging the past with you like a bag of bricks or a bag of gold, either one has weight, you're slowing yourself up. And you exhaust yourself emotionally. And if you keep talking about the same things and you keep experiencing the same things, you keep doing the same thing, expect a different result. We all know that equals crazy. It's insane. A story is an experience that we choose to hold on to for many reasons. Be it that it reminds us of how we were hurt and victimized, and it's how we think our life is unfortunately meant to be, or how we view our life, and therefore we can't get out of the hole that it has put us in. Or it's a past success that we carry with us, but we're afraid to try a new success, a new experience, because we don't know if we could ever have that great a moment, that great a experience. And some experiences in life that are fabulous can never be touched by another. There's that first moment you were recognized. Maybe you were valedictorian. Maybe you won the spelling bee. Maybe you were always picked captain of your baseball team or your football team or your cheerleading team. Maybe you don't get recognized quite the same, and there's a part of you that wishes you could, but those moments are unique. They're unique because they're first times. They're the first time you had an opportunity to shine. And if you look back in the past and you look back at when you were younger, we didn't know any better sometimes. We were kind of invincible and kind of brave, and we kind of felt like it was okay to authentically be ourselves, some of us, until someone squashed us. Then we thought twice before we really showed all of us. And in this world that we are living in now, so many of us are so guarded, so standoffish, so unafraid, so afraid to be open and connected. And we want to hide. What we're also doing is hiding within the stories. of I'm not safe. I can't trust people. People always let me down. They always betray me. I'm not good enough. I'm lucky to have this, so I have to settle for what I have, be grateful for what I have. I'm not so-and-so, so therefore I can't have my own business. I'm not smart enough. I don't know how to handle those things. Well, many of us need a mentor. We need someone to be a role model or just plant some seeds of greatness inside of us so that we can become inspired. But when we hold on to the bricks or the bags of gold, whichever it may be, and we try to drag them to the future, as if that's all there's ever going to be, we can't look to see the next inspiration. We can't feel it. Life is meant to be felt. Life is meant to be experienced. Life is meant for you to give it your all and throw it in. And it's meant for you to try new things. For you every once in a while to pack it up and say, nope, this isn't me anymore. I've got to go. And be okay with that. Be okay with the idea that there's something different, better, and more for you. Not this is just all I have. The universe has infinite possibilities for all of us. If we don't love ourselves, how can we allow the love of the universe to flow through us so that we can see all the greatness that there is? There's so much out there for us. There's so many next opportunities if we give ourselves permission. If we allow ourselves to leave the hurt in the past, leave the disappointment, forget the story that there isn't a good person out there, that I can't meet anybody, that I'm destined to be alone, that my relationships don't work out, or I'm never paid what I'm worth, or people betray me, or I can't really trust my friends, so I keep to myself, that I'm a loner. You're a loner because you choose to be. You're a loner because you choose to separate yourself from others. Yes, we all need quiet time. We all need our own time. We all need to process. But we all have a new day every day of how we choose to interpret that day and what that day can bring for us. And often we lose ourselves in the routine and the demands of life. And we don't take that time to sit and be inspired and just feel. Before I go into the center every day, I always pull up in my parking space and I just sit there for a minute. Doesn't matter what time it is. Doesn't matter if I've got to get in there. I just sit. And I feel the energy of the center. And I feel the energy of my breath and my being. And I feel the energy of my guides and my angels. And I set an intention or a feeling for the day. And then I walk through the doors. And all of that energy comes with me. It doesn't matter what happened at 10 o'clock in the morning before I went to work. It doesn't matter what happened the night before. I don't bring that with me. I let it be, whatever it might have been. Because as I sit before the day I'm about to create for myself, and I have something specific that I'm envisioning, I only have vision for that. Whatever it is that's undone or needs to be fixed, or unexpected bill or problem that came up, that's waiting for you, I promise. But if you are carrying that story or that problem into everything you go to do, how are you going to concentrate? How are you going to be present? How are you going to be inspired? How are you going to feel what the universe has for you? How are you going to notice that person who's actually looking at you and would love to approach you, but you're so perplexed with your Starbucks coffee sitting at a table that no one would dare approach you because you're holding on to the story. See, there's the past stories, and then there's the active little stories around us. Where do you want to be in the next few months? What would you love to shift? What would you like to create? And what story are you telling yourself that's blocking you, that's holding you back? So for tonight, we may talk about your story. We may dive into that story And we may help you release it. Because it's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a whole new world that's coming. And if you think you're dragging the whole old world with you into the new world, you got another thing coming. It's really time to just cut ties with things that aren't working and really prepare yourself to be who you've come to be, so that you have an awareness of everything that's going on in the world and how it's going to impact you without some old story trying to take you off track. It is a beautiful time in the world, but it's a complicated time. There's so much coming at us. We're all overstimulated. There's so much for us to consider. But if you're not considering your present, if you're being weighed down by the past, how are you going to know the right thing to do when things start to change around you? And how are you going to recognize God's gifts right in front of your face? We're going to take a minute to hear from our sponsors. And then when we come back, we're going to go to our phone lines at 866-972-7247. We're going to pop in on Facebook, so I sure hope you're sharing the page, sharing the light. We're going to visit our friends on YouTube. We're going to answer your questions. And we're going to explore the story. We're going to see where can we go with it. What limited belief are we holding on to? And how can we move forward? And we'll tell you some things we've got coming up. And yes, in the 8 o'clock hour, we've got Stacy Heller. She's our resident astrologer, and she's going to tell us some exciting things coming for the month of April. Between Mercury retrograde, eclipses, comets, who knows where it's going to go. We'll leave it to Stacy. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
The world is different now, and people have lost their way. It's just not easy to be who we want to be. 'Cause the world is changing now. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart. The ways that worked before, they don't work anymore. We have lost our love for everyone. We have hurt each other. The world is...
Stay tuned for more Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, coming up right after the break. Continue the conversation with Sarah Spiritual on Facebook and YouTube. The phone lines are open too. 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies Channel.
Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor and medium. She can connect you with your loved ones, your spirit guides, and ascended beings. Sarah specializes in love, relationships, money, career, health, and healing. She has an uncanny ability to convey the true thoughts and emotions of those around you. Just call 561-682-0956 for your personal reading. Life is a spiritual journey, and each situation has a spiritual solution. Just contact Sarah for a personal reading today. 561-682-0956. 561-682-0956. Or visit sarahspiritual.com. Or that number one more time, 561-682-0956. Let Sarah Spiritual and Spirit raise you up.
Hi, I'm Sarah Spiritual, the founder of the Expedito Enlightenment Center. I would love for you to visit me at my spiritual oasis located at 4047 Okeechobee Boulevard in the Tree of Life Plaza in West Palm Beach. Come, feel the energy, sample my spiritual sprays and oils, participate in one of my spiritual development classes, and have a personal reading with me, Sarah Spiritual. Let's see what Spirit has to say. You can call the Expedito Enlightenment Center at 561-682-0955. Not local? Visit me, Sarah Spiritual, at sarahspiritual.com for products, classes, and to book your personal session.
This show is furnished by Sarah Spiritual.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome back to the next 2 hours of Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, as we continue our uplifting and empowering spiritual discussions to transform your life. A gifted spiritual advisor, coach, and medium, Sarah Spiritual will assist you to connect to the light within and transcend beyond the limits of all experience and knowledge. We have another 2 hours to listen and call in 866-9-SARAHs. That's 866-972-7247. And watch Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube, and you can share the love and light.
It's just not easy to be who we want to be, 'cause the world is changing now. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart. The ways that worked before, they don't work anymore. We have lost our love for everyone. We have hurt each other. The world is changing now. It's asking us to move along, to open up a different way of loving one another.
Yes, indeed, the world, it's changing now. And it's asking all of us to find a different way. And as I've been led by Spirit to share with all of you, it's time for us to change our story. Now, speaking of stories, some of you may find yourself embroiled in someone else's story. Maybe you're engaged in a relationship that is all about someone else's story and their problems and their life and why they can't show up for you because of things that aren't happening for them, and you feel like you're being strung along. There's always that story. The story that you lose yourself in that isn't even your story. So many of us find ourselves in relationships that are strung up in someone saying or promising or alluding to the fact that they'll be with you eventually or something's coming. But they're really good at telling that story to themselves, knowing that they don't have the courage or the ability to make the shift and the change to make the move to maybe share a life with you, or that maybe they aren't really planning on doing it, but they, well, as they say, string you along. See, there's so many stories that we carry within ourselves, that we tell ourselves, that we've lived. But the interesting thing about stories, maybe you've noticed it in others because you're paying attention, but as they tell the stories kind of develop a different life of their own. Like they kind of twist the story a bit. You ever go back and compare stories of a childhood memory and a brother or a sister says, I don't remember it that way, I remember this. You see, the mind plays tricks on us. The mind makes us perceive something in a particular way based on how emotionally we're reacting, and kind of keeps us in that zone of not overloading. So especially if there's something that was traumatic or difficult, and maybe you and your siblings all experienced it, you each may have a different interpretation of how it actually went down. Yes, some of the facts will be the same, but they may remember different parts more because they remember that because that's what hit them the hardest, and you might have been shut down during that particular aspect of the moment that was difficult for all of you as children, and so you only remember a different part. The body, the human body, is so powerful that it does know how to protect us. But we all seem to hurt ourselves along the way because we don't really stop to think, what's the new story? How can I carve out a new beginning, a fresh start? Maybe the planets are going to help us with that as we move into this month of April. Can you believe we're in April already? Hope you all had a fabulous Easter weekend and you're ready for a fun spring. But before you know it, time's going to continue moving. And what goals do you want to set for yourself in April? What do you want to create? We're here to assist you in making those shifts and changes. Well, we're going to go to the phone lines at 866-972-7247. We're also going to visit our friends on Facebook and on YouTube. And we really want to share with all of you. So we're going to go to our phone lines, and I've got Pamela. Pamela is in Georgia. Georgia, how are you? Pamela, how are you in Georgia?
Hi, Sarah. I'm fine, thanks. Hope you're well.
I am doing great. Thank you so much. Big time for you to kind of explore finances this year. This is a time of financial increase. I want you to be prepared for that. That's a good thing. It is a year to kind of feel a little more free financially. What's the story that you've been carrying with you, Pamela? What's your question? How can I best help you today?
Ooh, Sarah, after your intro, I don't want to repeat the story.
Well, we said for the purposes of tonight to dive into
I know
how we carry it. So
here's the thing, I guess, and I want your guidance on this. I've done a lot of life review and old story and things like that, and I can go back and look at family and friendships and relationships and all the things that you kind of talked about in your intro. And I thought that I had addressed and was past a lot of those stories and had really done, quotation marks, the work, and then went into other situations like dating and what have you, thinking, not replaying negative stories and stuff. So I didn't do it consciously. So I want you kind of to speak to me, I mean, personally for me, any guidance you can give me about what story I am replaying and how to reframe it, I welcome immensely. But also, I guess, for other listeners, I would have told you I wasn't replaying that same story, but there must be something subconscious.
There must be. And that's exactly why we're talking about this tonight, and a great way for you to phrase the question. It's another reason why a couple of weeks ago, and those of you who haven't listened to the show, a couple of weeks ago we did a orphan show. Many of us have little parts of us trapped in the past, and that orphan show was about 3 Wednesdays ago. You can find it on the YouTube channel of Sarah Spiritual, because many of us have pieces inside of us that are stuck. And that's the little one that's not feeling good enough or worthy. And in your case, you seem to attract people who really make you feel like they're going to be of value and connected to you in a way that's an equal match, only for you to be the one overcompensating and really finding that you're the person who's the better friend or the better dating partner, or you're the person who's looking for the connection, and they're not as engaged as they led you to believe they would be. So there's a part of you that feels like you want to overcompensate to prove your worth. And that little girl, I'm going to take her back to age 8. They go 7, but then they flip to 8, and they hold 8 as a solid age. That little girl who didn't feel seen, heard, worthy enough is how they present it to me. That's a little girl who's kind of stuck right now. And even though you actively, consciously are trying to attract the perfect person that's going to be an equal vibrational match, you're trying to attract scenarios of people who are going to be a part of the common goal that you are actively creating in your life, people who are supportive, you're attracting people who are detracting, taking away from your light. And so there's a saying that we used to have in sales. We used to say you always want to recruit or reach for a customer that almost feels unapproachable or out of your league, or kind of you have to reach up to get them, because you still are reaching down when it comes to people around you. And you are believing the story that they tell you, and you're believing that their story is what they're actually going to do, but their story is just them thinking out loud of who they wish they could be or what they would ideally do, but they're not prepared to make the sacrifice or the effort or the connections necessary to create the outcome that they say. You know, it's interesting. So many people think out loud, but many of us as the listener think, oh, like for instance, someone would say to you, we should go to lunch sometime, because that would be great. If we went to lunch, maybe we could do it on a Wednesday, so on and so on. And then you're sitting there waiting, well, when are we going to go to lunch? Oh, well, I don't know. But in your mind, you're like, well, then why did you say we should go to lunch? And maybe it should be a Wednesday. Why did you even engage me in that conversation? Because they were thinking in their mind at the moment what just popped in their head. It would be lovely to do, but they don't have the ability to do it. They don't have the finances. They don't have the time. Or maybe they're not as interested as it felt in the moment, but that just popped out of their mouth. But then there are those who need to have what they hear and see, because they want to so believe that that is true, because they've been misled at a young age by someone who made promises and didn't fulfill them in some fashion. And so now when someone says we should go to lunch, you have 2 reactions. One, well, I'll believe that when it happens because you don't trust people. Or you're like, oh, someone wants to go to lunch. Wow, someone's going to make plans with me. Now the adult doesn't need the other adult to make a plan, but the little one inside, that little one needs someone to make the plan. That little one wants to feel like they're important enough for someone to reserve a time for them to go to lunch. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it does. It does. And those are the things that in many aspects I've been able to kind of let go. But I understand the whole foundation of the situation based
Correct.
on what you're saying.
Correct. And unbeknownst to you, there's still some more work to do.
Okay.
So when you're creating, I want you to tell Pamela, little Pamela inside, it's okay. I love you. We are attracting all the right people for all the right reasons, and everyone's showing up for us and with us, and we're going to do the same. And if for some reason someone isn't as dedicated or authentic as they would like to be, we're not going to take it personally. We're going to just step away and move on to what we do want because we deserve what we do want. We're not going to wait or waste time. We're going to just move forward in the energy of creation. Does that make sense?
I love that.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Perfect.
And that leads me to one question for
Yes.
tomorrow, because I have an old story about repairs at a house. And I have someone coming out tomorrow to look at this, to get the best fix for it. And I want to have the right story in my head. So you said that you sit in your car when you get to your parking space and you
Yes.
connect with the energy and you get in that place where it's a brand new day. So if you would just give me a little nudge in the right direction for this plumbing person that's coming out tomorrow, I'd be grateful.
Correct. Well, first of all, you're going to have your listening ears on, all right? And you're going to see yourself asking questions and gathering information. And you're going to see this person being honest and truthful as to what it would take to get it done and what the fix would be and how solid they are that you would have the favorable outcome without cutting corners and then making it worse and then having to do the big job anyhow. Because we're trying to find a way to do the best job without making it this whole big job. Is that correct?
Well, we have to fix a leaky pipe under a driveway, and we're trying not to break up the driveway. We're trying
Correct.
to
Right. We want to find the best way to do it.
Under it.
Correct. Without making it a big job. Exactly. All right.
Correct.
So we want someone to come out and do that. And this is the job that is not being fully supported by the powers that be in your community. Is that true?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay. They're not quite taking their responsibility. But you do need to get it resolved, and it does incur costs to you in the meantime. So go ahead and trust that they are going to see them having a clear-cut path and resolution that doesn't require a lot of demolition and expense, and that they're honest and truthful. And if they say that they can't do it or they don't believe it can be done, then at least you're going to have an honest answer, right? We don't want to become so fixated in an expectation of we're waiting to hear what we want to hear that we don't hear the rest of the story that could lead to a bigger problem. Matter of fact, that happens a lot in relationships with people. They hear one aspect that they want to hear, and then they lose themselves.
Okay. So listen more than I talk.
Exactly. Listen and trust that if they're the right person, tell your angels to give you a sign that they're the right person to get the job done in the most efficient and cost-effective manner, and everything will work out.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Pamela, for your question. Thank you so much for participating and listening to the show. We greatly appreciate you. And, well, the angels will be with you. We'll be praying for you tomorrow. And we'll sew up that leak. All right. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
866-972-7247. We're answering your questions all across the nation. And I've got to go to Fort Lauderdale. I've got Marlena on the line. Marlena, how are you?
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm
Thank you for
doing
taking
well.
my call.
You're welcome. Good to have you join us. Have you called this radio station before? Have we spoken?
We have not. This is my first night calling in and my first night actually listening to your show. And the person who referred me to you, I texted her and told her, I feel like you've been eavesdropping on my life. Because so much is hitting home when you're talking about the stories and what I've been repeating. And I'm grateful to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. And let me just break into this little bit that Spirit's telling me. They said to tell you, listen, this beginning part of the year is really about creating a better balance within yourself and around you, and taking a good look at what you want to change and what you'd like to redirect and reorchestrate for yourself so that you can kind of shift into a more creative way of being and kind of break the routine. There's a gerbil wheel, stuck, stagnant feeling around you that you are dying to break free of. And you want to be who you've come to be, but there seems to be resistance around you. Am I making any sense?
Completely. It's so accurate.
And when I look at where we go from here, make a list of what's not working for you. The things that aren't giving you joy, the things that are causing you angst. Hopefully it's not a big list, but whatever it is, write it down. And then I want you to look at the items that are causing you this discomfort, disappointment, lack, limitation. And I want you to look at that list, and then I want you to say to yourself, what here do I have the power to change? Oh, I don't like my job. I could change my job. Oh, I can't change my job because then I don't know what I'm getting myself into, and I'd be afraid of what could happen, and maybe if I get somewhere it's the same as what I have, so maybe I better stay. Like, listen to what you say to yourself. Listen to the story. Does this make sense and resonate with you?
Absolutely.
This is a year of big potential for change. And it's all on you, baby girl. You've got to do it. Mm-hmm. And you have to give yourself permission to make those changes. Now, when I spin you back, and I really want to go back, my guides, they flip me around. So they flip me to 2020, end of into 2021. And I know we all were in a especially weird place. But then they go to 2019. So taking the pandemic story out of the equation, 2019 into the end of 2020, difficult time for you, for yourself?
Completely. I had something, something in my life happened in 19 that is one of those before and after situations, like life before it happened and life after it happened.
Okay, by 2019, correct?
Right.
Okay, and so that's why Spirit is taking us back there. So write yourself a new story. A chapter closed. You hear me, yes? And we're rewriting a story, even though it's not the way we wanted the chapter to close. That's also correct, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Completely.
So who are we now? That's the question you answer for yourself. Who am I? And give yourself permission to find the joy and the love that you desire. What's the burning question for me tonight, please?
I feel like Spirit has guided you to it. I guess my question is, just what I need to do, what steps I can take, because I feel like this has been, I've been putting in the work, but I guess I just feel like I'm so stuck and I don't know what I can do to find that release.
Yeah. And we're talking emotional. We're also talking support of others, yes? My guides tell me you feel like you're very, very much alone, disconnected. You don't really feel like you have the support, yes?
Correct.
Okay. So in this story, the first thing you want to choose to do is to understand that because of a series of choices and outcomes, you are in a place that now the universe is redirecting energy to get things to line up to what's meant to be yours. And it's almost as if we are in intermission in between Act 1 and Act 2 in a Broadway show. And we can't get to the next half of it. We can't get to the next scene because they have to rearrange the stage so that when the curtain opens, we have all the right players and all the right scenery behind us. And that's why you're still not getting the results that you desire. Now, my guides keep talking to me about mom, mother, Do you have a question about your mom, please?
I don't really have much of a relationship with my mom.
Okay. So that is the root of a lot of the problems, yes, from way back when?
Yes, for
yes,
sure.
For sure. So we need to go back,
For sure.
not today, and we're not blaming Mom. We just want to hear what Spirit says, and Spirit is saying this. When I take you back to when you were younger, and some of the interactions that made you not feel loved and worthy, made you feel uncomfortable and abandoned, that has been the reason why we've attracted the people and the experiences that have not shown up for you, because you haven't had the skill set to attract. So I hear we've done the work, but there's a work I do called soul integration. I encourage you to go on my website, take a look at it. It has to deal with those orphans. We can do it remotely. You don't have to come to West Palm. And we go retrieve your little girl because she's stuck. And we use 12 archangels to bring her to the future. Because while the universe is rearranging between Act 1 and Act 2, life before and life after, that's the intermission. We want to make sure that we do not repeat the patterns that we have already done. Correct?
Yes, my biggest fear, in fact.
Well, have no fear. It is not going to happen unless you fear it, because then you draw it to you. So I am the woman who is in alignment with everything for my highest good. I have the power to attract all the right experiences. I am in alignment with divine truth, divine light, and divine love. Therefore, I can see beyond the stories of others, and I can trust myself. And it's all right to put myself first because I am worthy. I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of appreciation. I'm worthy of abundance. And I deserve to have someone standing beside me that I can count on. And I am free from all limitations because I am the woman who is divinely blessed in all that I do. And the universe is always preparing things for me, and nothing in the world can come against me. This is the way we speak to ourselves on a daily basis. This is how we envision what we need to create the world we want. It's a powerful, powerful year for you. It's a year to establish your balance and break out of your routine. Now, we are looking for something having to do with love as well. Is that true?
I don't know how to answer that. I guess I'm a bit resistant toward it. That would have to do with my fears.
Okay. Well, we'll give you a little time with that.
Fear love, but I'm too afraid to embrace it, I guess you could say.
All right. Well, then we definitely need to do some work because, girl, 2025 is looking like a hot love year for you, and we don't want you to miss the boat.
Ooh.
So you better get used to the fact that love's coming. It's that song from West Side Story that I love. Something's coming, I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be great. Right? It's coming.
Amen.
So you are worthy of that, and we don't have to be the old story. We want to create a new dynamic of love. We've got so much to share for you. I hope this has been a good experience for you this first call. We look forward to hearing from you again and perhaps having a personal session. You can go to sarahspiritual.com. Soul integration would be a great place to heal, and a general reading would give you all the bits of information of where you've been and, honey, what's coming. Thank you so much for your call.
So great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And be sure to thank your friend who sent you our way. Share the love, share the light. Tell everyone to follow us. We're coming up on our 15-year national radio anniversary. So perhaps you can come on up and celebrate with us when that is time to come in the next 6 weeks. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye. 866-972-7247. We're going to take a minute to hear from our sponsors. Then when we come back, we're going to pop in. We're going to say hey to our friends on Facebook. Howdy to our friends on YouTube. Then I've got to get back to the phone lines. We're cranking here on Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. Pick up the phone. I want to hear from you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Have we met before? I've been standing in the room before I walk through the door. Do you know me?
Stay tuned for more Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, coming up right after the break. Continue the conversation with Sarah Spiritual on Facebook and YouTube. The phone lines are open too. 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247.
Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor and medium. She can connect you with your loved ones, your spirit guides, and ascended beings. Sarah specializes in love, relationships, money, career, health, and healing. She has an uncanny ability to convey the true thoughts and emotions of those around you. Just call 561-682-0956 for your personal reading. Life is a spiritual journey, and each situation has a spiritual solution. Just contact Sarah for a personal reading today. 561-682-0956. 561-682-0956. Or visit sarahspiritual.com. Or that number one more time, 561-682-0956. Let Sarah Spiritual and Spirit raise you up.
Come visit the Expedito Enlightenment Center for an extensive array of spiritual products, crystals, books, classes, readings, and healing services in a beautiful spiritual oasis. You must visit the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. Come feel the energy and explore our unique products. Arrange for your own personal spiritual reading with Sarah Spiritual for spiritual insight. The Expedito Enlightenment Center is located at 4047 Okeechobee Boulevard, Suite 129 in West Palm Beach. Call 561-682-0955. Visit online at expeditoenlightenmentcenter.com. That's EXPEDITO enlightenmentcenter.com for yourself. Or for a thoughtful gift, there's no better place to visit than the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. Call 561-682-0955 or visit online at expeditoenlightenmentcenter.com.
You are listening to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, your spiritual advisor and medium. Connect with Sarah Spiritual and be in the energy of light. Call right now, Sarah Spiritual, at 866-9-SARAHS. That's toll free, 866-972-7247. Just ask your questions or message Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube.
Standing in the room before I walk through the door. Do you know me? Have you heard me? Have you seen me? Do you know my voice? Did you call me with your soul? Because you know that you know me. Every soul has its story. Like a movie.
Every soul has its story. What's your story? That's what we're tuning into tonight. Your story, the story you've been carrying around, and what stories we need to let go of. And how can we create a new story, a new experience, a new paradigm? We're saying hi to our friends on Facebook and our friends on YouTube. We'd love to pull a couple of questions for them on Facebook and YouTube. So let's see what we've got in our Facebook and YouTube friends and family here. Let's take a look. We'll give them a minute to pull those questions up for us. And if you'd like to have a personal session with me, Sarah Spiritual, you can go to sarahspiritual.com. Be sure to take a look at all the different products and the different sessions that I offer. So I've got Alexis, and Alexia is in, let's see. She says, "The Spirit have a message for me. I'm feeling very stressed about my life and my work." Well, Alexis, or Alexia, I should say, we've got quite the message for you, because when I look at where you are right now, the energy that is here for you is really about taking a step back and evaluating what you have the power to change. Because life has you stressed because you're feeling stuck and limited and trapped in situations with people and things at the job that are not allowing you to express yourself, and you're feeling undervalued and not appreciated. So, Alexa, when you look at what is coming for you, I want you to plan what you would love to shift and change, because what can come for you is exactly the way you would like life to be. But we are looking at this glass half empty instead of all the possibilities of how we could make it not just half full, but filled to the top so that it runs over with more than enough. I feel like there'll be an opportunity to network and connect with some people that is going to give you a shift and a change that's going to give you a different perspective and dynamic in work, even if it means we're making a job change. Be open for that change. Look to meet the right people. They will guide you and present an opportunity that can really allow you to get paid what you're worth and hone in on your skills and not feel this burden and this pressure. Trust that it's going to be a good year for you. It's just we've got to get through the next 2 months that still feel like we're stuck in the mud. Things will begin to move after June. Trust the universe is going to help you and has your back. We're going to take another question from Facebook or YouTube. We got Dory Dees. Dory Dees says she's requesting my thoughts about a connection. She has a particular person in mind. Is there a harmonious union or future? So when I look at that energy, the first thing I see here with that person is that they're in this place of being able to get themselves in a better situation. I feel like when I look back, they went through a difficult time about 3 years ago, and they're kind of putting themselves in a better light, a better flow in their personal life. They are very dynamic. They are very intense. They also have a great passion and compassion with them. The difficulty here, Dory, is that you are very, very giving, and they may be a little bit more self-aware and self-centered. They're aware of what they want, and they don't always know how to share who they are with someone without looking at what benefits them. Now, they are definitely someone who has been the center of attention a good part of their life, and so they need to have their, ego stroked. And you need to remember that you can't overdo to please them. They need to step forward and do for you. Can it be harmonious? Yes, but we need to see what this individual is willing to bring to the table and how they are willing to see to your needs and desires equally as to theirs. So this is where the little tricky spot is. So pursue this and get to know them better and see if they speak the same love language so that you know that the two of you can mesh and they're going to honor you the way you are capable of honoring them. Thanks so much for your great question. Let's pull one more from Facebook or my friends on YouTube before we go back to our phone lines at 866-972-7247. So we've got Melanie Long. Hey, Sarah, should I go to Paris in September? This has been the burning question. Well, Melanie, you could, but it may not be the experience that you want. And I know that we had posed this question before, and we are on the fence from Spirit as to whether it's the right thing for you to do. Can you have a good experience? You can. But I feel in some way it's going to fall short. And I feel like it may not measure up to all the reasons why you want to go. We don't want to miss an opportunity of a lifetime, but we need to be prepared for it to be lacking or there to be a little snag or snafu in the process of before you go, during, or right after. I know that may not be what you want to hear, Melanie. Let's talk about that a little bit more. But thank you so much for bringing that question back in front of me. Travel is possible. Scale of 1 to 100. It's a 65% yes from Spirit. We just need for you to meditate and see if you are willing to be in that little bit of a wobble in the process of making this plan. Thanks so much, Melanie, for your question. We're going to go back to our phone lines at 866-972-7247. And we're going to go to Pembroke Pines right here in South Florida. I've got Denise, and Denise has a question. Denise, how are you?
Good, Sarah. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much. And what is your story that you're holding on to, Denise? You've been calling the station for a while. We've explored so many things with you. What's a story that you're having trouble letting go of, Denise?
My story?
Yeah.
Story. I always have a lot of stories.
But is there a story of the past
I don't
that's
know.
blocking you from moving forward?
Yeah, I know there is, and I know I've talked about it recently, but I don't remember what it was. But I do know there is something that is really bothering me,
Yes.
and it's probably more my than anything else. But you know, there are things that are bothering me, and it's just you're bringing it to my attention now, and it's like, what is it? But there is something that I can't seem to let go of. But maybe while I'm talking to you, I'll think about it.
All right. But I also know that you can be a bit of a perfectionist, right? And you have a vision of how things have to be, and you've been pushing really hard to get things the way you want them. And I feel like life threw you a curveball, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago. And
Yeah.
we're feeling displaced still, that we're not quite where we thought we'd be at this juncture, right? This isn't how we envisioned this part of our life. And
No, because 2019 is when everything changed.
yeah,
And as you said to Marlena, things changed for her then too.
yes.
I referred her, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when we
But yes,
move you forward,
go ahead.
Denise, it's creating a new story, right? And that's been a little hard. One of the constants for you has been your business, right? That has given you grounding, kept you sane, kept you financially moving. So what is your burning question for us tonight?
Well, honestly, I've been dreaming a lot lately, and maybe not this week, but when I called a couple of weeks ago, I never got on. But when we talked prior to that, you had said, you know, we would revisit because Paul seems to be visiting again. He stopped for a long time, and now all of a sudden, he's there again, and he's coming to me in dreams, and I don't know what it means.
He's coming to you in dreams because he wants you to know that he's with you.
Okay.
He's coming to you in dreams because isn't there a anniversary, a birthday, something connected to you all, right, coming up soon?
His anniversary of his death comes up in June.
Okay. So the veil, the window is thin, right? So it makes it easy for him to come to you. Okay. And
yes,
is there, the talk of a baby, please?
For who?
Well, not for you, honey. We know that time has passed. Talk about windows closing.
You like,
That would be a miracle.
not for me.
Not for you, but
Yeah, it would.
okay. Well, we do see baby energy in the family, so I don't know who's planning or hoping or wishing, but we do see some baby energy coming. Is someone wanting to have a baby in your family?
Yeah, Michelle. Yeah,
Okay.
Michelle.
All right. So let's be open for that
I know.
as well. All right.
We
Know that you are
and,
fully
you know,
protected. Know that he is with you and brings you love. Know that he is with you no matter what you're going through. And the veil is just thin for him to really to be able to show you that. He can't always cross through the veil to show up in a dream. So the window is open. So he's just like, I'm here. I'm here with you. No matter what you're going through, I'm here with you. I'm supporting you. This is why he's here.
All right. And business is starting to boom again.
Good.
And I took your advice, starting back, going to the beginning. And my son is more involved. Marlena has joined us. So this is her second week. And
Great.
she's really been helping a lot. And it's been really good, giving me a lot of support. And her to me and me to her. Which is great, and things are really changing. This week has been totally insane.
Well, this
But I
is
guess
good.
a good insane.
It's a good insane, and it's a good opportunity to move yourself in the direction of the success that you want. Focus on attracting that, and trust that the universe is going to continue to support you and has your back. All right, Denise?
Okay.
All right.
Yes, thank you, Sarah, and thank you so much for always being there.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, and keep keeping on. Things are looking up, all right?
Okay, thank you again.
Oh, and that other number, not the one we normally play, that other number, I think it's connected to your husband. The other one's, is that number connected
my
to?
husband, yes. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting, but I keep breaking up. But yes, the other number is due to come out, and I've been playing on and off. And my husband's birthday did come out last month, but the other number we talked about, yes, it's getting ready.
Okay, great. So it's coming, all right? They just wanted me to tell you that. One of your pick threes is coming, so pay attention. Don't miss it.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bye for now. Bye.
All right. Thanks. All right. Bye.
866-972-7247. We've got some stuff coming up at the Expedito Enlightenment Center. We've got Calvin Cates coming back for the Crystal Healing Bed. I believe, if I look at my calendar, that is April. We could pull it up if we have it here. April 19th and 20th. This is a great time for you to work on your emotional, physical healing. Calvin Cates of the Crystal Healing Bed coming for Friday and Saturday. These days are genuinely a full, fun experience. You get to be with Calvin on the Crystal Healing Bed about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So that is a powerful thing. Yes, it is the 19th and the 20th. He'll be there from 12 to 5. That's Calvin Cates. And we've got some other exciting things coming up. So we want to follow Sarah Spiritual, follow the Expedito Enlightenment Center. Be sure to join our newsletter at Sarah Spiritual so that you don't miss anything coming up. We are unveiling some great surprises at the center, some cool things that we've been talking about behind the scenes, and we're ready to launch. So we want you to be a part of some of the cool things that we're going to be featuring. I can't quite tell you yet because it's not in the new newsletter. So follow Sarah Spiritual. Be sure to subscribe. We'd love to have you join us. We're going to go back to our phone lines, and I've got to go to Valerie Stewart. Valerie, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Good to have you connecting with us, Valerie. Is this your first time calling?
Thank you. It is my first time, yes. My daughter has called before, but I have not.
Okay, could you
I listen
speak up a
often.
bit? I don't know if you're speaking away from the phone, but I can't quite hear you.
Here, can you? Okay.
I hear you better
Is now better?
Yes, now is better. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hmm?
So
Yeah,
what brings you to us tonight? What's the story you're having trouble letting go of?
Well, there's quite a few things. I'm not sure which one to. So my health is number one, and then also going through a divorce and wondering, like, he has a mistress, and I don't know if she is like keeping him against his will somehow or something, and they're just really kind of attacking me and doing
I
things
get
like
you.
that, and took my
I got it.
daughter, and
Yep.
have
All
done
right.
the played
Well,
very. Yeah.
let's go.
You feel
Let's
that?
dive in there and let's take a look at where we are. So I need to go back, and I need to go back for you. I want to go back to 2021. This was a difficult time for you. This is really when things started to fall apart. And we've just been trying to hold it together piece by piece, all right? And I know that there's a big divide between you and your partner, but I also do understand that there is bad vibes, bad energy coming from the other person, because the other person really just wants to take over your life. That's her mindset. That's what she's looking to do. But that's who she is. That's where she's coming. That's her insecurity, not able to know that you're still and will always be a part of his life, as will your daughter. So this is her insecurity, her jealousy, her issues that he has to contend with, and you need to shield yourself. How do you shield yourself? You need to shield yourself with Archangel Michael, the angel of protection. We need to keep your energy clear. You need to do some prayers so that anything that she thinks and wishes against you or your family, that it doesn't permeate your energy. Now, thoughts are things, and I know to some people listening, they'll be like, what is Sarah talking about? Remember, words, thoughts are energy, and they can interfere with our energy if we're not shielding ourselves and protecting ourselves. Would we go on a bicycle and ride high speed and know that we're going to hit some bumps and throw it to chance that we could fall and crack our head open? Or would we take a precaution and wear a headgear so that we could go as fast as we want, and even if we hit a bump and we go flying off our bike, at least we know we're not going to knock ourselves unconscious. So in the physical world, we need to have our headgear on. But I also know that he has been really misleading you and lying to you for quite a long time. And what is his birthday, please?
What was that?
What is his birthday, please?
It is 1/26/86, January 26, 1986.
Okay. So there's going to be a level of accountability coming for him in this next 6 months, 6 to 8 months. So I also feel like he's going through some shifts and changes having to do with work and money. And so these are things that he's going to have to handle. And he has to grow up and put on his big boy pants, literally put his pants back on, and get himself back in gear, right? Because he has to pay attention to life and what his responsibilities are. Now, I heard you say something very interesting, or ask something, is he being held beyond his will? He has a soul contract with this person. This person has a hypnotic effect over him. I don't see him being bound and gagged and held beyond his will. But I do feel that the idea or the thought of someone else is enticing to him. But that's because he's kind of a wishy-washy guy. But you didn't really know that when you met him. So now you know he's wishy-washy, and he's kind of non-committal. He's kind of aloof and cold. So she's getting the hot, passionate side of him maybe now. But we all know how that story is going to turn out, because he is inherently who he is. So it is your story now to recreate yourself and understand that there's an opportunity for you to create a new life, a new happiness, and new love for you. The divorce is not going to be an easy journey. It's going to be difficult. He doesn't want to make it easy, but he's going to have to be accountable. That's why I said he needs to put his big boy pants on. I'm looking at this shift and change for you that comes, that offers you new opportunity to reinvent yourself financially. So if you've been thinking about what can you do to up your level of finances for your work and career, this is going to be a great time for you to do that.
My health is getting in the way. Is there any way to tell me, like, which specialists to see, or what part of my body is the main culprit in my pain that I'm having.
Well, some
that's
of your
holding
pain,
me back.
some
that's
of your
the main thing in my life that it
I know,
keeps
I
me
hear you.
from going back.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Some of your pain is not all physical.
Mm-hmm.
Some of your pain is not all emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is even spiritual. There's a
Okay.
lot of energy coming into your auric field. I feel inflammation. I feel you have pain in the joints, yes? Almost like we have something that has a marker of a fibromyalgia or something like that, but they're not quite finding the right marker to give it a label. Is that correct?
Somewhat more towards like vascular, spinal, nerve area. Like I'm supposed to be having brain surgery, but then I keep getting a really bad feeling about that because I just feel like it could hurt me more. And I have my daughter 100%, and her father's not cooperating and giving me anything because he's financially cut me off for like the last 5 months, and I am unable because of my health. I'm unable to function.
Correct.
And it's like I can't handle. It's like a type of a pressurized type of pain. Like I would literally cut my finger off if it meant that I could just not have this certain type of pain anymore, pressurized type of feeling.
Yeah.
Then it's like the doctors aren't listening, or it's like
I understand.
I don't know what to do at this point.
I understand, and I'm not a doctor, and I can't diagnose you, but I will tell you this before they wave us to commercial. There's a lot of inflammation in your body. There's a lot of difficulty in the pressure because there is a lot of trapped energy in your physical body, and there's a pressure because I feel like they want to do a brain surgery because I feel like there's something pushing in your body. Is there they say there's a growth or something that they want to look at? Yes?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. We need to explore
kind of.
this.
Yeah.
We need to go to a few specialists. I count on this moment in time because we have to go to commercial in about 10 seconds, but I can tell you this, that we do need to get connected to a neurologist. If you are on Instagram, go to Sarah Spiritual, send me a message. We'll kind of talk about some of the possibilities that are there for you. You really need to go to a doctor that is going to connect you to the root cause of all this, because they're missing the root cause of all of this. And there is a connection of someone who's in Miami who could be of help to you, and they can do it remotely.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. That's
okay.
Wow. Yes. That's very, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
All right.
That makes sense. A lot of sense.
Okay. So we will give you that information, and we will guide you so that you make the best choices for the highest and best good. We send the angels to surround you, Archangel Michael to protect you. We send Archangel Raphael for healing. If you'd like to have a personal conversation with me, go to sarahspiritual.com. In a general session, we could really dive into this. Otherwise, pop in on Instagram, and I'll try to share with you what I know. Thank you so much. Pleasure connecting with you. All will be well. You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a minute to hear from our sponsors, and then when we come back, we're going to come right back to answer your questions here on Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, and also get our astrology report from Stacy Holler. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, coming up right after the break. Continue the conversation with Sarah Spiritual on Facebook and YouTube. The phone lines are open too. 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies channel.
Hi, I'm Sarah Spiritual, the founder of the Expedito Enlightenment Center. I would love for you to visit me at my spiritual oasis located at 4047 Okeechobee Boulevard in the Tree of Life Plaza in West Palm Beach. Come, feel the energy, sample my spiritual sprays and oils, participate in one of my spiritual development classes, and have a personal reading with me, Sarah Spiritual. Let's see what Spirit has to say. You can call the Expedito Enlightenment Center at 561-682-0955. Not local? Visit me, Sarah Spiritual, at sarahspiritual.com for products, classes, and to book your personal session.
Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor and medium. She can connect you with your loved ones, your spirit guides, and ascended beings. Sarah specializes in love, relationships, money, career, health, and healing. She has an uncanny ability to convey the true thoughts and emotions of those around you. Just call 561-682-0956 for your personal reading. Life is a spiritual journey, and each situation has a spiritual solution. Just contact Sarah for a personal reading today. 561-682-0956. 561-682-0956. Or visit sarahspiritual.com. Or that number one more time, 561-682-0956. Let Sarah Spiritual and Spirit raise you up.
Come visit the Expedito Enlightenment Center for an extensive array of spiritual products, crystals, books, classes, readings, and healing services in a beautiful spiritual oasis. You must visit the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. Come feel the energy and explore our unique products. Arrange for your own personal spiritual reading with Sarah Spiritual for spiritual insight. The Expedito Enlightenment Center is located at 4047 Okeechobee Boulevard, Suite 129 in West Palm Beach. Call 561-682-0955. Visit online at expeditoenlightenmentcenter.com. That's EXPEDITO enlightenmentcenter.com for yourself. Or for a thoughtful gift, there's no better place to visit than the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. Call 561-682-0955 or visit online at expeditoenlightenmentcenter.com.
This show is furnished by Sarah Spiritual.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome back to the next hour of Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, as we continue our uplifting and empowering spiritual discussion to transform your life. A gifted spiritual advisor, coach, and medium, Sarah Spiritual will assist you to connect to the light within and transcend beyond the limits of all experience and knowledge. We have another hour to listen and call in 866-9-SARAHs. That's 866-972-7247. And watch Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube, and you can share the love and light.
The world is changing now, and we don't know where to go. The world is different now, and people have lost their way. It's just not easy to be who we want to be. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart, the ways that worked before, they don't work anymore. We have lost our love for everyone. We have hurt each other. The world is changing now. It's asking us to move along, to open up a different way of loving one another. We can't stay the same. We've lost the game of life. We can't run away anymore. The world is changing now. We need to heed the warning. The world is calling you to rise above where you've been.
Yes, indeed, the world, it's calling you. Rise above where you've been. And let's let go of the old stories. It's time to write a new story. And if the story of the past is weighing you down, ask yourself, why am I holding on to this? Why is it so important for me to keep reliving it? What do I need to learn? And how do I let it go? Well, we're getting ready for some big changes. Astrologically speaking, the world, it's really changing. The planets, they're shifting, and everything's kind of moving and grooving to create a whole new world, to create a whole new paradigm, to ask us all to, well, be faced with who we are and why we are here in the world. What's our reason, our purpose? There's quite a lot happening in the stars. And so it's the beginning of the month. I thought I'd check with our wonderful friend, Stacy Holler, so that she can give us some insight as to what's coming up. All the changes that are coming in the planets, the retrogrades. Me, oh my, what are we going to do? We've got to hear from Stacy. Stacy, how are you tonight? What's going on in the stars?
Oh, I'm always happy to be here with you, Sarah. And we've got an awful lot of Aries energy going on this month, and a lot of very powerful things coming up. But as you were speaking tonight, everything you've been talking about is a way of explaining all of the energies. And we're just going to talk about it now in astrological terms and how it's hitting us individually. But the theme is right on. And it really makes me always grateful for the times that retrogrades come, because it makes us stop and think and reset and plan. So I'm excited to follow up talking about how everything you're sharing with us is showing up in the stars this month.
You know, I'm excited by that too. And I'm always fascinated when I connect with Spirit and Spirit gives me whatever the topic's going to be or the theme for the year or what the vibration is. And then I listen to what the astrology says. I'm like, holy crow, they know what the stars are doing. They know what the planets are doing. They know what's coming up. And it makes me really aware that everything is so connected and that there is a greater plan working. That when we listen to our intuition, when we follow our guidance from our guides, when we still ourselves, when we are in that moment of prayer and meditation, even if we're not aware of what the astrology is doing, we're always going to be prepared some way energetically to navigate what comes before us. Now, the advantage is when you know the astrology, it gives you a little bit more tactical, almost factual insight. And it's not just trusting our intuition, but I'm always fascinated how Spirit will guide our intuition and that it matches up directly with the planets. So I'm always grateful for that. And of course, I'm grateful that you show up here every month to share your guidance and your wisdom with all of us. I know that sometimes you too have got a lot on your plate, and you still always make time for your family here at Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. So we want you to know that we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I'm always happy to be here. And I, like you, I'm always in awe. When we get the messages we need, they come the same through different ways. When you're sharing the message, or when I come on and I share the same message, we all know then we're getting the truth. It's just in the ways they're coming to us, right?
Correct.
So I was fascinated too. So I'm excited to get into the nitty-gritty a little bit more this month with you.
Thank you. Let's do it. Tell me what's coming.
So, Aries. First of all, happy birthday, all my Aries friends out there. There's a lot of Aries energy going on this month. Now, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the first way we start to learn to express ourselves in the wheel of zodiac life. And it's very fiery and impulsive and intuitive. So there's lots of that fiery energy for all of us. Now, the first thing that some of us are already feeling, the Mercury retrograde started on the 1st, April Fool's Day. It is going through April 25th, but we will feel its effects. The shadow will last until about May 13th. Now, the retrograde, most of us already know because it's so infused in our culture, which is very interesting. But the planet Mercury is about communications and travel and technology, and it's when it appears to be going in reverse in the sky. It's a phenomenon. So during that period of time, that's when things get screwed up, right? We all know that. My internet blows up every Mercury retrograde, no matter what. Communications, missed travel plans, those are the typical Mercury retrograde things that kind of blow up. But it's also a time to reassess, reevaluate, replan, reboot an old plan. Not a time to start totally new things. So if you want to travel, go to a place you've been before. If you go to a new place, you might get a couple of hiccups along the way. It might not go exactly as planned. So understanding how to use the Mercury retrograde energy is important on how to navigate it. And it is a reset time, and that's what Aries is about too. Now, the other interesting energies we're going to talk about is how all these planet energies are conjunct, meaning they're all holding hands in the sky. So at the solar eclipse, which I don't think there's a person on the planet left who hasn't heard about the solar eclipse, and being in New England, the traffic's already out in the streets. But on the 8th, that's our solar eclipse, a new moon, a supermoon in Aries, Jupiter, Chiron, Venus, the North Node. All these energies are in Aries kicking right in. So this solar eclipse is very powerful. A solar eclipse is about our ego needs. So when we talk about your sign, look at where it is in the house. That's where you're going to be feeling it. And Sarah, you were talking so much about Chiron, which we know is our early woundings, and where in our early life we place there in our plan so that we could learn and grow. And when our old stories, a lot of them are from our Chiron early woundings. And now that it's conjunct with the solar eclipse, it's going to give us all an opportunity to do some great healing. So, Sarah, this is the time to look at those old stories. And it's a very powerful time to be healing. And then we'll look at the Scorpio full moon on the 23rd. Scorpio, some of you know, especially you Scorpions, pretty intense, extremes. Scorpio's all or nothing, and it's right on the full moon on the 23rd. So look out for some surprises and unexpected events. So we'll look to see where it's going to fall in your house. So every sign, your sun and your rising, we'll take a look at where these events are falling in what house of yours and where you could feel it the most. So how does that sound, Sarah?
It sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Okay. So let's start with the birthday, Aries. Now, everybody's Mercury is going to be in the same house with the solar eclipse. So that Aries energy for you, Aries, in your Mercury retrograde, it's right in your first house. So you might have people coming back into your life, or you might be going back to things that you did in the past and reevaluating them. And for the solar eclipse, it is about your personal growth. And the first house is about your self-image and how you look in the world. Maybe you want to change your hairstyle. Maybe you have a new project you want to start. But it's your interaction with the world and how you appear to them. And the full moon for you is in your 8th house. That's intimacy, shared resources. Maybe a intimate relationship might spur a bigger commitment. Maybe there'll be a birth in the family or news of pregnancy. Now, Taurus, your Mercury retrograde and solar eclipse, they're in your 12th house. The 12th house is what's happening behind closed doors. So during the retrograde, that's a very spiritual time. This is a psychic time for you this month. Listen to your gut. You're going to find out answers if you pay attention. And especially during the solar eclipse is when you might get some inner work revelations and a lot of intuitive feelings. So be very attuned to that, Taurus. Now, the full moon at the end of the month is in your 7th house, in your committed relationship. So you might decide to make a relationship permanent or end a relationship. Or maybe it's time to make an adjustment in the people you're working with in your business relationships. Now, Gemini, the Mercury retrograde and the eclipse, that's all in your 11th house. That's your house of goals and dreams, friends, community, collaborations. So during the retrograde, not a good time to start any new technology rollouts. Really pay attention to that. How you're communicating with your friends and in your community, make sure you are very careful about that. And on the solar eclipse, maybe you'll get some revelations about friends that no longer work for you, or suddenly meet people in new groups that better fit your needs. And the full moon for you, that's in the 6th house, health, work. Time to make that doctor's appointment. Maybe time to get your arms around your schedule and make things happen. And it's also the house of volunteer and service. So maybe around the full moon, you'll be inspired to give, which will bring you a lot of pleasure. Now, Cancer, Mercury, solar eclipse, it's all in your 10th house. That house is all about your public life. It's about your career. So during the retrograde, perfect time, plan your next steps. What are you thinking about? Where do you want to be? Not a time to start something new, but definitely evaluate where you want to be. And then on the solar eclipse, you may get some news, a new opportunity, a new path. It's all about where you want to be going. Now, we talk all the time about the new moons being a vision board. What do you want the next 6 months to look like? So when we're talking about the eclipses, that's what you want to be thinking about in that house. Now, the full moon for you, Cancer, house of romance, creativity, children. You might get news. Get out, express your creative projects. It's time to go have some fun for you, Cancer. Now, Leo, the Mercury retrograde and the eclipse, that's all in your 9th house. Now, that's about travel. So you in particular, too, during the retrograde, Leos, watch out for delays in your travel. Things might not start on time or work out the way you want, so go carefully. Take the time to plan for when the Mercury retrograde is over. Plan that great trip. And the solar eclipse, use that to reevaluate your plans about what you want to learn. It's the house of education, learning something new, expanding your horizons. And for you, the full moon, that's in your 4th house, in your early life, in your home. What changes do you need to be really impacting there? What was going on in your early life that you could heal from now? Now, Virgo, Mercury, the solar eclipse, they're all in your 8th house. That's your very intimate relationships. That's shared resources. So during the retrograde, don't start any new shared ventures, but it's a great time to reevaluate your finances with other people. It could bring in money from things that you've been owed. And during the solar eclipse, look at your shared resources and your long-term goals. What do you want to have for the next 6 months? Your Scorpion full moon, your house of communications and your projects. It's also your neighborhood and your siblings. So maybe something with one of your siblings might happen unexpectedly, Virgo, during that full moon. Libra, Mercury retrograde in the eclipse in your house of committed relationships. You Libras might have lovers from the past showing up, people you used to do business with during the retrograde. Not a time to start new committed relationships, but you could lay the foundations or reevaluate the ones you have. And during the solar eclipse, that's when that old lover might really pop up. And you want to think about, what do you really want in a committed relationship? Because for you Libras, everything's about committed relationships. This is your house. And your full moon in Scorpio, that's in your house of money, the second house. Finances, maybe you'll have a new way to make money, new ways to manage your money. Something unexpectedly might come in for you. Now, Scorpio, Mercury, solar eclipse, that's all in your sixth house. Daily life, health, work, pets. All right? So during the Mercury retrograde, don't be too set on those best laid plans. For you, calendars could get screwed up. You make an appointment, just doesn't happen, or you're missing an appointment. On that solar eclipse, that's cleanup time for you. Maybe you want to clean out your house. What do you want to donate? What do you need to let go? And what do you want your life to look like over the next 6 months? And that Scorpio full moon is in your first house. Fresh starts. It's about you. What were you planning since your last birthday? Right? The full moon is in your sign. So think about where you want to be and what you want to make happen. Now, Sag, this is all about your time in the fifth house, which is creativity, romance. So for you, Sag, Mercury retrograde, you too might have old flames showing up. You might want to reevaluate projects that you've had. Maybe you want new ways to work with your children if you've been struggling with how to work with them. Now, the solar eclipse, get out, display your talent, your creativity. What do you want to set in motion for the next 6 months? And that Scorpio full moon, that's in your 12th house of healing, releasing, endings. Listen to your gut. You're going to get a lot of info, Sag, in that full moon. Capricorn, Mercury, solar eclipse, that's all in your 4th house of home, family. So the retrograde could bring some reunions or a visit from a relative you haven't seen in a while. And maybe it's time to plan those renovations and changes you want to do. And on the solar eclipse, you might get news about your family, maybe pregnancy news, maybe you decide you want to move or change your living situation. And that full moon in Scorpio for you is in your house of collaboration and teamwork. So get out, network, connect with friends who can help you with your goals. And Aquarius, Mercury, solar eclipse, all in your 3rd house, communication, neighborhood. During this retrograde for you, Aquarian, you might have some delays in your short trips or transportation, car issues, missed appointments. So just go with the flow. Plan carefully. On that solar eclipse, great time to be in your neighborhood. What do you want to have happen with your social life? Local things will be great during the solar eclipse, right in your own backyard. And that Scorpio full moon is about your career. So what did you do to start 6 months ago? Were you working on a promotion? Was there a next step? Something could happen there for you. And Pisces, Mercury, solar eclipse, all in your money house, finances. So for you during the retrograde, reevaluate your money plans. It might take longer to bring some money in. You might have to wait till after the retrograde, but just watch for errors while you're planning and doing your taxes. And on the eclipse, maybe you'll find something. Maybe something will pop up new for you, or a new job, or a new project. And the full moon for you, 9th house, travel. Maybe you'll have news of planning a trip. Maybe something new that you've been working on. It's also the house of media can finally come to fruition. So in everybody's life, we're going to focus on changes, Sarah, where we could heal, what's true to ourselves, and where we need to focus. And the universe is just shining the light as to what areas we need to make those changes in order to move forward.
Well, it sounds
and
like
hoping
we've got
navigating
a lot coming.
that will help us.
Yes, we've got a lot coming. Stacy, since everybody knows the eclipse is coming, right? How can that impact us the next 6 months? Like because what we're talking about here is under each sign, that is not just the eclipse is going to happen and they'll see those results or those aspects happen immediately, right? It could take a few months, before what you're talking about actually kind of comes to light. Is that true?
Yes. So all the eclipse is a new moon, and all new moons are new beginnings. And it's the opportunity to envision what we want in our lives, in that world, a house of what we want it to look like over the next 6 months. Now, solar is sun, and the sun represents our ego, who we are. So it's a time that we're looking at where we need to meet our sun needs, our ego needs. And this eclipse gives us an opportunity to set a new cycle, a new vision board. And the eclipses are powerful, so it could bring sweeping changes. And because of all the energies in Aries, which is about us, it's the first sign and who we are, it's really all focused on giving us an opportunity to focus on where we need to meet our needs and our soul's development. And the house just tells us the area of our life at this eclipse where we're looking to satisfy our needs.
Okay. And so this eclipse
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And this eclipse is happening, well, cutting right straight across a part of America, right? So is there a certain impact this eclipse could have to America? Is there any indication on what this shift could mean if we're looking at our egos and rewriting our story? Could it mean there's another story for America? How could we interpret the eclipse for the collective in America?
Well, you know, when we look at that, that's when we really look at America's birth chart. And that really, the natal chart of our country really gives us the most information there. But it's interesting to point out that what the part of North America is where we see it the clearest at that vantage point, that it's the most clear of where the moon and the sun are conjunct. And that, yes, there will be energies. Those people are being drawn to the eclipse because they need to pay attention to the very strong energies going on in ourselves. And yes, there is a metaphor that as a country, we're trying to figure that out as well.
Yeah.
Right? And around the world. So you and I have talked, and you tell us weekly about it's not going to be an easy year. And it's going to be rough, but we're all being forced to constantly look at ourselves and make sure we're on the right tracks. Because if we're all on the right tracks for ourselves, that's only good for the collective.
Correct. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting times, and, well, before you know it, it'll be May, and we'll be touching base, and phew, we'll see how we all made it through Mercury retrograde, and then, of course, our next planets that are about to move forward and shift that'll be coming for us in May. But we're going to just take it 1 month at a time, and I know that April is jam-packed for all of us, so we're going to pay attention to the energies, pay attention to our intuition, take a look at our old stories, and give this eclipse energy, this new moon energy, an opportunity to show us a different way to write the story, and then come into a good sense of our emotions and our feelings with the full moon. Thank you, Stacy, for sharing with us. We greatly appreciate your showing up every month to share your information. Those of you listening, if you'd like to have a personal session with Stacy, have your birth chart done, and understand how these planets impact you and how your story was written at birth to a certain degree, then go ahead and visit destinyinthestars.com, and there you'll be able to register for a birth chart and a session with Stacy to understand exactly why you're here on this earth and what the stars have and the moons and the sun and the planets have in store for you. Stacy, we thank you so much for being with us. I know we've been doing this now for quite a few years, so we're greatly appreciative of you taking the time.
Oh, I love being here with you. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
We're going to take a minute to hear from our sponsors. Then when we come back, we have callers on the board. We have people on Facebook and YouTube. Stay with us. We're going to get to as many people as possible. We'll be right back.
Standing in the room before I walk through the door.
Stay tuned for more Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, coming up right after the break. Continue the conversation with Sarah Spiritual on Facebook and YouTube. The phone lines are open too. 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247.
Come visit the Expedito Enlightenment Center for an extensive array of spiritual products, crystals, books, classes, readings, and healing services in a beautiful spiritual oasis. You must visit the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. Come feel the energy and explore our unique products. Arrange for your own personal spiritual reading with Sarah Spiritual for spiritual insight. The Expedito Enlightenment Center is located at 4047 Okeechobee Boulevard, Suite 129 in West Palm Beach. Call 561-682-0955. Visit online at expeditoenlightenmentcenter.com. That's EXPEDITO enlightenmentcenter.com for yourself. Or for a thoughtful gift, there's no better place to visit than the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. Call 561-682-0955 or visit online at expeditoenlightenmentcenter.com.
Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor and medium. She can connect you with your loved ones, your spirit guides, and ascended beings. Sarah specializes in love, relationships, money, career, health, and healing. She has an uncanny ability to convey the true thoughts and emotions of those around you. Just call 561-682-0956 for your personal reading. Life is a spiritual journey, and each situation has a spiritual solution. Just contact Sarah for a personal reading today. 561-682-0956. 561-682-0956. Or visit sarahspiritual.com. Or that number one more time, 561-682-0956. Let Sarah Spiritual and Spirit raise you up.
Listening to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, your spiritual advisor and medium. Connect with Sarah Spiritual and be in the energy of light. Call right now, Sarah Spiritual at 866-9-SARAHS. That's toll free, 866-972-7247. Just ask your questions or message Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube.
Standing in the room before I walk through the door. Do you know me? Have you heard me? Have you seen me? Do you know my
Have you heard me? Have you seen me? Do you know my voice? I am Sarah Spiritual, and you're listening to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah right here on the Oldies Station, all across the nation at 866-972-7247. We are at our 722nd live show, I believe they told me before the show started. So we're so glad to be here with all of you. Yes, applause. And we are counting up. Yes, indeed, we're counting up to our 15-year anniversary, and we're going to have a celebration with and for all of you. So keep listening, because we're going to be talking about that in the weeks to come. We've got a little time, but just get ready for a Sarah Spiritual party, because we need to celebrate 15 years of talking with each and every one of you, and we would love for you to join us and participate in this celebration. We're going to go back to our phone lines, and we are going to go to Philadelphia. I've got Keisha. Keisha, how are you tonight?
Hey, Sarah.
How are you?
I have you on speaker. Is there an echo, or can I leave it here?
I think we're good for now.
All right. I love you so much.
Thank you.
I have a three-parter, but I'll give you my most important concern.
Yes.
I have 5 children. 2 of my children are estranged, and I'd like to know the energy behind them and the estrangement.
Divide and conquer is what I hear in my head. Right? So I feel like there's been a perspective of a story that has been presented to them that they feel makes sense to them in some way, and they've decided to align with a different side than your side. Now, I will tell you this, that this is temporary. I know it's been a while, but it is temporary. Because they don't know enough about life to really understand what it's like and who it's like to be you see. So there's a story that is a big story that leads you up to this outcome, correct? And it's been a complicated story and a complicated journey. And so we need to let go of the story of how we got ourselves here. And I'm not telling you to let go of your children, but we need to let them fly. And we need to realize that not every soul comes into our life, even if there are children, to be connected and aligned with us the whole entire time, the way we've been led to believe a family is supposed to be. Because each soul has its journey, has its opportunity to heal wounds, has come with its own wounds of a past life, and brings in this need to fulfill the storyline, and is more aligned to different souls than others. So at this moment, you and those 2 particular children are not aligned, and I don't see them really as aligned to their siblings either. Is this also true?
That's true, Sarah. Did I let them be together? Did I do the right thing?
Yes.
I let them be together because, okay.
It's all right for them to be together. This way, well, there's misery enjoys company. There's safety in numbers. And they are kind of at this moment being cut of the same cloth.
Yeah.
So let them experience that together. And one who is not as convinced to the story that's being told and believed is going to be the one to shine the light for the other. You see, they're not as alike as they think they are in this storyline, but that needs to be revealed.
Oh my God, Sarah.
True, yes.
Very true.
Yeah. So it's a journey for them. And in this journey, they will come to know their truth. And their truth may never completely align with your truth, and that's okay. Because we think we know, but we do not know. And we do not know what it is to align with someone else and walk in their shoes. They'll be back, but not for a while. So we're going to let them go ahead and graze out into the world, and they'll be fine. Ask the angels to surround them, protect them, and to open up their doors to possibilities, to open up their heart.
But I did good to let them be together. That right?
Correct.
And I chose that over my own happiness, to let them be together.
Correct, because that's what a mother does. That's what a mother does.
Okay.
You see,
I would like to ask another question.
Yes,
go ahead,
but
Sarah.
Understand that
Okay.
they are, you're giving them permission to understand their own thoughts and emotions, discern what their own truth is, and where the lies may be, and they cannot do that if you're mothering them and they're a mother hen and they're in your chicken coop.
I'm a mother hen, and you know that.
I know you're a mother hen. So we kicked them out of the coop. They're going to have to go find their own eggs. They're on their own now, and they will be fine. They need to have their, well, come to Jesus moment, and only the divine universe will tell us when that's going to be, but it's not yet. Now, for you, it's for you to be content that you gave them wings to fly and for them to discern and understand who they are. And if they choose to have a perception that is different than yours, it's okay. It is okay, because you inherently know who you are. And as long as you know who you are and that everything you've done from your heart, even if you stepped on a toe and perhaps upset someone and maybe in retrospect could go back and adjust something, you didn't do anything out of malice. So when they come to that realization, then they can come back. It'll work.
This makes me want to cry.
Well, it should be tears of joy,
because that's
honey.
exactly how I feel.
Well, it's what I see. And so your feelings are more aligned with your inspiration and your intuition than they are with the wounds and the disappointments of the story that really brought you to your knees. So you will rise through this, and you will come further in a sense of knowing of who you are and have the ability to attract better experiences and love for yourself. Your follow-up question before we go? Yes.
And so for the, I don't want to say perpetrators, but for the opposing party,
yes,
what are their thoughts and feelings and motivation?
Do we really give a flying banana what that is?
No, because I know what it is.
All right.
But I
But hear this. When we waste the energy, and I say this to you and everyone, wondering what were they thinking, what were they feeling, what were they going, when you know that they're coming from a place of their own insecurities, their wounds, their malice, their need to be right, their ego, we're not judging. You just know that they're in a place that we've all been in some capacity. It's just perhaps they've taken it to an extreme. I give you that. Then we don't need to know. We don't need to. Do you want to delve into the thoughts of the devil? No, I'm not saying they're the devil, but you know, okay? You want to delve into the vibration, hear me, the vibration of the divine. You want to delve into the vibration of that which will bring a positive outcome. We don't want to stoop down into the mud with the pigs. We want ourselves to be in this pure energy of, I'm moving forward. I'll take accountability, responsibility for my part, but as I have the vision to move forward, I know that I can hold my head up high, I'm going to walk in the light, and I'm going to create. Because to
Sarah,
focus on the fact...
I ask you a bunch of questions one time. Go ahead.
To focus on the fact that someone wants to destroy you and your relationships, that is not going to bring blessings to you.
Okay.
All right. Final question, because I do have to pop off. We've got a lot of people on hold.
Okay. I just want to know, do they buy into it? Do my children buy into it? Or do they see? Well, you already said that they see, but...
Yeah. I know you want to feel better, and I know you want ice water to be thrown on them so they could wake up. But they're not awake.
Yes, ma'am.
They are like in the little walking zombies. They are not really paying attention. They're paying attention to what glitters or what makes them feel like their bread is being buttered. It's not true. None of it is the truth. They will find that out in their due time, and it's not for you to control. It's truly, this is a perfect example of when we have no control and we feel that we are in a state of grace, in a state of being, I don't want to put it a state of right or wrong, but a state of being right within ourselves, then the rest we surrender to God. God knows the story. He knows the reason why we're in this story. He knows the parties. He knows their thoughts. He knows their wishes. He also knows the wounds that they have to navigate that precede this lifetime, and that they are there for their own self-discovery. And everything each one of us goes through, it doesn't matter what it is, how great or how horrific it is all part of a design of a divine plan, and is all designed to lead us closer to God. And the sooner everybody gets that in their physical, vibrational being, that everything is aligning with God, and that God has the final say, and that we are participants, and the more we allow God to flow through us, the greater and better our lives would be. And these so-called problems and miscommunications and misperceptions and people's need to put others down and destroy and divide, these will become less and less effective, because we'll all be vibrating in the divine light. So the fact that there's a eclipse cutting right through America means everybody needs to know you are all being gutted in some way or shape or fashion, so that you can take a good look at yourself, not someone else, and say, what do I need to make right within myself? And then we can all move forward in harmony and grace. And your family is a prime example of what goes on everywhere, be it a workplace, be it in a friendship, be it in a parental family, be it in a society, a community, a group of people being pitted against another group. This is what we're seeing. And those who are not in their right vibration will align with something that seems to suit their needs for the moment. But we know that life and its illusions are temporary, and your children will figure that out. And then it's not for them to come back for you to forgive them. It's for them to come back and be in a better state of grace and love, and know that you did the best you could with what you had, and that you are imperfectly perfect, because it's all part of being human. You understand me, yes?
Yeah, I understand.
It's a mouthful.
I understand.
Well, we regret you're going through this, but trust that everything is working out for you. We appreciate your following the show and your kind words to me in the beginning. We are appreciative of that affection that you share to us. We are appreciative of you. And we know that you have the power to persevere this, rise above it, and really write yourself a beautiful ending to your story. Thank you so much, Keisha in Philadelphia. We greatly appreciate you. Bye for now.
Thank you so much,
You're
Sarah.
welcome.
I love you. Have
Thank
a good
you.
night.
Bye. 866-972-7247. I just love when Spirit's got a mouthful for us. And I think that put us all in a place. I'm like, all right, we're gutting people here on Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. But I've got to go to Macy. Macy is in Stewart. Macy, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Macy, how much change do you think you can handle?
A lot.
Good. Get ready. Because there's a lot of things you'd like to change, correct?
Yeah.
And this is your time to create and make those shifts in your life and kind of start to visualize how you want things to be.
Yeah.
All right? So what is your burning question for us tonight, Macy?
Just kind of like, what do you see for me? Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't really know how to word it.
Well, there's a lot I can see for you, and the one thing I see for you is it's a time of change. What grade are you in, Macy?
I'm a sophomore in high school.
Okay. And Macy, there's change that you want to make because you're also working on feeling better about yourself. Is that also true?
Yeah.
And you have a question about a particular person, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the person's birthday?
It's not really a...
What's the person's
Their
birthday? Yeah.
August 17th.
Do you know the year?
2006.
Okay. So what's your question about them?
Not really a specific question.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, it's my current boyfriend, and I was just wondering, like, is it going to last? Like, is something going to happen?
Well, I will tell you this. He is a very kind and dedicated person, yes. And he is very compassionate in how he views this relationship. I do feel that this year has been a little difficult for him. He's got a lot on his plate. Is that also true?
Yeah.
And there's also some things going on. My guides are kind of taking me to his family. So there's something going on with his family or something keeping him busy with his family right now. Does that also make sense to you, please?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So you may not be getting all the attention or all the time that you may like. You need to give him his space. He can be a very closed-centered person, but he can keep to himself. So sometimes you may not always know what he's thinking, and when he's overwhelmed, he kind of shuts down. And it's important that you give him that space. You know, the two of you are kind of very interestingly intertwined. You're a good connection for each other. You get each other. Is something going to happen? Well, you're young, and there's a lot of choices that we have to make in life. But I do feel that the both of you are showing up for each other and being as authentic and transparent as possible in this experience. So that gives me the vibration of two people who would like to make this work and have it be a relationship that can last. But there's a lot going on, and I feel like he is definitely overwhelmed, almost to the point where at times I think he feels like he's drowning. And I know there's some kind of recognition or something that he's looking to get. I don't know if there's something that he's trying to accomplish in school, but it feels like there's something he wants to be recognized for. And this is also very important for him. And it doesn't mean for you to think that you're second best. For you, I feel like it's time to make some changes. I want you to take a look at your friend circle, the people around you. Perhaps we've stepped away from a girlfriend because we weren't feeling like she was being authentic or transparent, or feeling like she's not as happy for you as you'd like her to be. Trust your gut. You're very intuitive. You do know what you feel and how you feel it. So I want you to pay attention to that. I also want you to look forward to a trip. I see a trip coming up. Is there somewhere you're planning to go in June, please?
In June? Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
The Keys.
I see it. It's going to be a good trip, and that'll be good for you. So do what you need to do. Look forward to the trip. Think of it as a great toast to the summer, a great start to the summer, and know that it's going to be a fabulous time for you. Macy, how did you hear about the show?
Thank you.
How did you hear about us?
What?
How did you find the show? How did you
my
hear
mom, actually.
Oh, okay, great.
I've called a few other times, and it's actually very funny. Last time I called, you told me about a trip, too, because I was talking about my ex-boyfriend with you, like, a year ago, a year and a half, 2, I don't know.
Right.
I called then, and you told me a big trip is going to, like, change a lot, and actually, it did, so.
Good. Well, this year brings more change for you, but it's change of how you express yourself, change in who's in your circle, maybe a slight change of plans as to what you think you want to do for the future, for your career. You're going to see things a little differently. Believe in yourself is what my guides are telling me. Trust and know that the universe has your back. And you've got a nice boyfriend. Let's pace it nice and easy so the two of you can grow together and not push each other in a way that you grow apart. Thank you so much for calling back to the show. We greatly appreciate it. And keep us posted and have fun in the Keys.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye for now. Well, we're on a journey, everyone. We're on a journey of different stories, different experiences, and we're so glad that you joined us. And everyone has a story, and even I do. And it's all the stories that I've navigated, endured, some of the bumps in the road that put me here in what appeared to be a very unlikely place. But here I am anyhow. Because no matter what happens, I always know, and I want you to always know, there's always a force of energy that's directing your path, so that you end up exactly where you're supposed to be, and with the people that you're meant to have near you, and all the right support. It's when we create the resistance. It's when we create the difficulties for ourselves by going against the grain and not trusting that the universe has our back, that we make it complicated. It's when we have that gut feeling that we know it's probably not the best idea, but we do it anyhow. Or when we give someone another chance when they've already shown us who they are. We've got to pay attention not to our story, but the story that other people are showing us. And those of you who are slinging your bag of gold, great. You made a bag of gold. Put it down, step on the bag of gold, and look to see how we can create more gold, more blessings and beneficial experiences. And those of you carrying your bricks of the past, lay them down, stand on them, jump up into the air, and see where you land next. Don't stay still and stagnant. Don't let the past determine your future. That was yesterday, and in this moment of today, you are creating your future by what you say, by what you think, how you act, and what you feel. Those feelings, they are important, and they have a vibration. So feel the good feelings, and when you don't feel it, find something that made you feel good, and remember that feeling, and hitch your wagon to a new frequency and trust that this is the year that we can all soar regardless of what goes on in the world. You've got the power to be true to yourself and design a new story. Thanks so much for sharing time and space with us. We appreciate your being a part of the show. We'll be back next Wednesday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Good night. God bless you. And I am Sarah Spiritual.
'Cause the world is changing now. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart.
This has been Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. You can hear and speak with Sarah Spiritual every Wednesday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Each week, Sarah Spiritual and Spirit answer your most important questions as you navigate through life. Listen and call in next week and let Sarah Spiritual and Spirit guide you. If you didn't have a chance to speak with Sarah Spiritual tonight, visit Sarah at sarahspiritual.com. You can message Sarah Spiritual at Facebook and follow her on Instagram. Tune in every Wednesday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. with more from Spiritually Speaking with Sarah.